dock your pay.
Huh?
We're gonna dock your pay.
You got my pay. Did you get your post money?
My post money.
Your.
Oh, yes, yes.
Okay, okay. I owe.
Recording in progress.
Tell me when you're ready.
I'm ready.
Okay. Okay, so we're gonna call the meeting to order. Citizen comment. Public invited to address the commission. The public is respectfully requested to limit comment to 5 minutes. The public should identify their name, street, or city, and may address any subject. By state law, the commission may not engage in discussion on any matter not listed on the agenda. The city policy is that each person who desires to address the commission must speak on his or her own behalf and may not reserve or grant time to another person. Billy, you got anything to?
Nah.
Okay. Okay, so we're gonna go on to approval of the minutes. Everybody take a chance. You got a copy of the previous minutes that we had. Take a look at that and see if you see any changes, and then what we need is a motion to pass, a motion and a second to basically to approve the minutes.
Anybody need to read through it?
You know, you can glance through it if you want to.
Yeah, I mean, I already did. That's why I was gonna go ahead
So
and make a motion unless somebody was still reading.
I read it.
I would.
I make a motion, we adopt the minutes as written.
We need a second.
Second.
Barbara, second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Information items. Now it says we're not having a full-blown what we need to do. I'm hoping that, so what we're going to discuss is vacant positions on the commission. Really, the vacant positions we have are filled as long as we have the four people, voting people. I don't count because I'm the commissioner. So we have to have 4 voting people in order to have a quorum at a minimum. So, you know, we do want more people, in my opinion. I want more people to come. If you have other people that are interested, please send them to the city council, because I'm going to suggest to the city council that we need more people on this commission besides 4.
Yeah.
I think more bodies in these seats, the better you're going to get at it all. So I would like more position. The one thing we need to fill, the way I understand it, is secretary position.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else has been filled. So we really, I know that we discussed last time the person that fills Caitlin's Casper's seat becomes the secretary, but that would be, and while we're doing this, Martin, let you introduce yourself. He's the new member of our commission. Go ahead and introduce yourself if you don't mind, and let us know.
Good evening, I'm Pastor Warrior. Originally from Tucson, Arizona. Came out here 2 years ago to be with my good friend Barbara Briggs and Eddie. I was a pastor for 30 years working with people with mental disabilities and autistic adults in Arizona. And when I retired a couple years ago, I decided to come to Texas. Been on, worked with the American Legion. I was their chaplain for 12 years in St. John, in my little hometown. So I kind of always did little prayers and stuff for the meeting. I've been around the world. I was in the Navy for 12 years. Been to many countries. Seen quite a bit of things, but never saw myself coming to Texas. So this is all new to me, and I like to do big things. I understand in Texas we try to do big things, so I'm here to do some big things for Texas.
There you go.
So I'm kind of thankful to God that I've been planted here for a little bit, and I hope that I can make a difference for the community, because I know that growth is coming, and we all need to be ready for the changes. So I just want to make sure that we do the best that we can for the people of this community and the future.
Amen.
Thank you for your service.
Yeah, welcome.
He's on his way to Florida to retire, but they're not quite ready for him over there yet. So he's been like, yeah, he's been hanging with us.
So we need a secretary. Marvin, would you be interested in, or
Actually, I can do it. Yeah.
you're gonna do it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it'll be easy.
Everybody okay with Barbara gonna fill that position?
I make a motion
I
that
hope
we
so.
have
Don't-
Barbara fill the position as Secretary of the Planning and Zoning Commission.
I'll second that motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Passed. Barbara's our secretary. Now, what you gonna do is
Give us that.
talk with her a lot. So tonight, she's gonna take care of it for us, right, tonight? And then we'll start, you'll just talk with her a lot and start getting a little bit.
I
more
like
about it.
Sarah.
We'll come.
Okay, so we discussed and received bylaws, really, we went over them last meeting, all of us, but Marvin, I don't know, did you get a chance to read them before we
No,
started?
not this
Okay,
today.
so, I guess, I don't know if we need to review them again, or let Marvin review them and then.
That's up to y'all. You don't have to read them all, but I gave him his copy.
Yeah, I've been
So
reading.
basically, you gotta go over the bylaws and look at them and review them and make sure you understand them.
It's gonna take me a little time to understand them, but I did go
Yeah.
over it.
I can help.
Yeah, and then I think you have to sign, or did you already sign?
I don't think I actually have a thing to sign for it, but I'll check.
I'm not sure, I think there is a
Cause
something.
I have this sheet that I do,
Okay,
so.
okay, he gave you your information on
Yes.
that?
Well, I kinda noticed that most of this kinda deals with the city council and how
Yes.
they do their procedure.
So basically what we do, Marvin, is we're gonna get into actually planning the city.
Mhm.
And which we haven't done in all the years that we've been in a commission. What we've been doing over the past several years has been reviewing ordinances and making changes to the ordinances, voting on changes, sending them to the city council decides to adopt them or not.
Mhm.
Everything we do is a recommendation to the city council. City
Right.
council has the final say-so.
I understand.
There is still the circumstance that we can either develop an ordinance, or develop or review another ordinance if it comes before us.
Mhm.
We also sometimes are asked to review plats and make our recommendations on those plats and when a person's gonna build a house or whatever it
Right.
may be. We haven't been asked that in a while. We were asked it a few times, but we haven't been asked that in a while.
Okay.
So my opinion, what my stance is on this is that I am gonna try to get the lawyer to he gave us a presentation I guess it's been a year or so ago,
Probably more than that.
more than that, on planning. Because I know a lot about, everybody here heard some spills about me in the past. I'm a real estate appraiser, that's my profession.
Mhm.
And so I know a lot about when it comes to dealing with ordinances, zoning, and I have to look at that on every single property that I appraise.
I understand.
And so that's my background. Am I a planner? No. I don't plan a city, but I know backgrounds on what the effects of ordinances and zoning can do to an individual.
Mhm. Mhm.
And so, and I can tell you some of that if you want to hear that. I mean, it's totally up to y'all if you want to hear that.
Mhm.
But what we're going to do is I want a presentation from the lawyers on the good planning and then start taking the steps to plan the city of Gholson,
Right.
which we haven't done. And which that's our job to do, or what we're asked to do. So that's what we're going to start tackling. I'm hoping in January, get the presentation, February, start tackling what it takes to start doing that.
Okay.
Just to give you a little background, I don't know if you know much about, you may know about what zoning and ordinances do.
I have an idea. I had to be involved with the state several times, running group homes and a food bank. So
Okay.
I have dealt
Well,
with the state.
what I gave the commission, what I told everybody an example of last year is that a zoning can affect an individual, a property in a quick manner, and it can affect them in a negative side or a positive side.
Mhm.
So an example I gave everybody is I was doing an appraisal on a property just outside of Waco. It was a residential property, residential house. People were going to buy it to live in this house. The zoning was light industrial. when you're dealing with getting a mortgage on a property, that mortgagee, the mortgager, the bank, wants to know that their collateral is protected. So that's where I come in. I come in and I say it's worth this. It's protected in regards to how it sets. Here's your condition of your property. One of the things that I have to look at is the legality of it. Is it legally permitted to be this? In that scenario, under light industrial, it was not permitted. A residential home was not permitted.
Mm-hmm.
You are grandfathered in, but that becomes what they call non-conformance. So what it means is, yeah, they can live in it, but God forbid, if something happens to the property and it's destroyed by fire or anything else, they can't rebuild it.
Right, that's what you're saying.
They couldn't, in that zoning, they couldn't even increase the size. They couldn't modify it.
Right.
They couldn't change the footprint.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So the banker, when I told him, say, hey, this is what you're dealing with, it's not legally permitted. It can be legal non-conforming, but it's not legally permitted. They said, okay, we can't do the deal. So the banker says, nope, I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
Until they, now,
Cash buyer to come in.
understand that there is the circumstances that you can go and ask for a variance and change the ordinance, or change the zone.
Zoning.
Yes.
And I had that happen too in Waco, where the deal was falling apart. The banker said, y'all go change the zoning. They held me off. They went and changed it. I went and appraised it, and everything went through. So that can happen.
It's flexible.
It's flexible.
Mhm.
It is flexible. But that's what zoning can do. It can. I had a lady in Hillsborough that couldn't do a refinance, an equity. She wanted to do an equity home on her house. She couldn't do it because the banker said no because the zoning didn't allow. She couldn't. In other words, if the mortgage company doesn't understand that their collateral is protected, they're not going to lend money on it. And that same circumstance happened to an individual in Hillsborough.
Mm-hmm.
They couldn't do the loan because it wasn't legally permitted. So that's the effect that zoning can have. Now, understand that there is positives to zoning. There's not always negatives. It's not always that it's bad. There is positives to it. And there is positives to planning. Like in every zoning, in every property I look at, I have to go in and look in that zoning and see what is permitted. Well, when we do the planning of Gholson, that's the one thing that we can lay out. What's permitted? We have a 5-acre minimum ordinance in place.
Right.
And that's been brought to question, and several times up before the city council.
Correct.
However, if you take and you plan a city and you say, this area I'm going to designate as residential,
Mm-hmm.
you can modify that residential area and say, okay, we're going to allow a minimum lot size of 1 acre, or a minimum lot size of a 1/2 acre. But the remaining city is still under the main ordinance of 5 acres. So that's the kind of planning you can do. Now you can have a lot of mixed use, which we're going to have here. We're going to have mixed use because we have agricultural in the middle of our city. So you're going to have some mixed use in that scenario. But that's the kind of stuff we're going to start looking into, and we're going to start getting into, which we're going to start saying, this area could be designated as business area. This area can be designated as residential.
Okay, I have a question on it.
Sure.
I know some communities where people have like their business, but it's downstairs and they got residential upstairs.
Multi-purpose.
So how are we gonna call that?
Well, in this area, that's what I'm talking about. We're going to have a mixed use. You can allow in a certain area, you can allow in a, say my zoning is R1 residential.
Right.
Under that R1, I can go and say, you can allow an individual business to be inside that zone.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And that happens because everybody knows in cities that people can have, I have a business, I have an office in Waco, but I also office out of my house.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really a business inside my house.
Right.
So it has to have some permitted to an extent. You can say, Okay, I don't want an industrial site inside my R1 zoning. But I will allow a home-based business inside my R1 zoning.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? In other words, I don't want, I don't know, Walmart to come build a distribution center right beside me inside my R1 residential.
Right.
So that's how you can control, or I say control, that's how you can set up the individual zoning. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, yeah. Well, one of the things I've been studying over the last few weeks was Waco, and their ordinance, and all the different R1s, C2s, C3s.
Yep.
It got up to like 13 different
Yes.
designations.
It's very extensive.
Right. So
It's very extensive.
That part, us knowing what those specific means, that's what I need to learn. But I saw all the different categories.
Yes.
So I was like, okay, wow, I didn't know what
Yes.
so many different,
Yes.
many uses.
And in a city like Waco, it can be, you're right, it's very extensive. You have, and one will refer back to the other. Okay, R5, or R1B refers back to R1. So it allows everything back in R1, but then you got some little bit of difference in the B.
Right.
Does that make sense? And
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
you
the
see
tweaking
what I
part.
have to deal with.
That's the
So,
tweaking part that the flexibility, the tweaking part.
correct.
Yeah, that's what I was seeing.
Yeah, and it is. It can have some flexibility, but it can have some safeguards. It can have some, and more, it used to be, because I've been doing appraisals since 2004. I was with UPS for 20 years before that, but I've been doing appraisals since 2004. And so every time I would go into like a city of Gholson, or say Whitney, or some of these other small cities, for years we were dealing with no zoning. We had no zoning. Now 99% of them are having zoning.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're getting that on a regular basis. I mean, you're getting these little small towns that you think, I have to make phone calls, because these small towns that you think that don't have it, have it. It's more than you think that are not do.
Mm-hmm.
So, were you
I was just
scratching your
gonna
head, or
ask
did you ask?
No, I was gonna ask you a question, because you're talking about this.
Mm-hmm.
What are you gonna do with the situation down here where you got all these manufactured homes down there on Ron's land, and now they've got a gravel pit there?
Say that again.
What are you gonna do? I'm just asking a question, that's
Yep.
something to think about,
Yeah.
okay?
I'm sorry.
Because, okay, down on Brazos Loop,
Yeah.
you've got manufactured homes down there,
Mhm.
you've got, custom-built homes.
Mm-hmm.
You've got a gravel pit that they're hauling all kinds of dirt out of right
Right.
now. And there are mining laws that control that thing
Mm-hmm.
and stuff. And they're
What
pretty-
can you do?
Huh?
What can
Well,
you?
I'm asking how y'all gonna handle that? Because I can see people down there getting upset, really upset about that gravel pit being right next to their home.
And I don't blame them.
And I don't.
I don't blame them one bit.
I don't.
And
But the city has nothing on the books right now.
to do anything about it.
No.
Yeah, and that's where the ordinances has got to be put into effect. You know that as well as
Yeah,
I
I
do.
know that, but and I know TCCQ has control over what they can do down there too.
Yeah,
But, there's all kinds of laws on that mining about having barriers up and all kinds of stuff.
when it comes to us, we can look at that and when we're doing a planning and put into place something that would be that could, and it, of course, the city council has to adopt it, but could restrict certain things. That's going to go into my next.
Something to think about.
It is. It's exactly something to think about, and that's going to go into some of my more later that I'm going to talk about.
But that's more like environmental impact.
Well, environmental impact, and then you've got what you call nuisance,
Yeah, they, like
noise, dust, everything like that
Right.
can be put into. You can't create these things. You can't do this within the city limits or within this area or within whatever you want to designate when it's doing the planning. Like, for example, I told you about that residential, you could put in a noise situation control. I'm not saying we're gonna do that, but you can do that. You can put in noise control. You can say, this person can't go blasting their stereo all night long
In
at certain
Tucson,
hours of the night.
after 10 p.m., you're in big trouble for any loud noise.
Where?
In Tucson, Arizona, they passed the ordinance about
It's
15
the
years
same way
ago.
in Waco.
And that's what I'm saying.
Right.
That's the kind of stuff that we look at, and the ordinances are in place. We do have ordinances in place.
Mhm.
And you can modify them. They're a living document just like the Constitution of the United States. They can be modified. Every bit of this can be modified. Zoning can be modified once it's put in place. Now we're gonna have more, what he's asking, we're gonna have more of the planning side of this come and tell us about what the lawyers. Go ahead.
I have a question for Billy. You were on city council and stuff. Was
Yeah.
there no planning and zoning?
He's,
Well,
they didn't start
Put it all
until
back.
Billy didn't
Let me
start.
explain what happened with the planning and zoning, okay? And most people out here don't know the history of any of this stuff, okay?
Which one was?
Back in about 92, they had, the mayor at that time decided to start a planning and zoning, okay? His plan was, people were beginning to come out here, because I was at one of the meetings when Earl Sterling was wanting to buy a bunch of meters and start a development along, spur 1858, and there were some other people. This has been back in the early 90s, okay? So the mayor decided they was gonna have a planning and zoning to work on this stuff. And, but he really was using them as a scapegoat. And it didn't take a couple of ladies on there to figure it out right quick, okay? Because what he'd do, he'd tell them to go, and I've got the old minutes and stuff at home. I can show you this. I'm not just throwing stuff out, okay? They spent a lot of time getting organized, and they took the job seriously. Well, he got coming along, and he undercut them and stuff on everything. And so finally, they started passing some ordinances like the 1 acre and all that kind of stuff they put in there. Well, and he's dead now, not bad about him, but this is what happened. Had one that was a developer down there. He was on the council, and he was wanting half acres, because he could take an acre and get 2 lots out of it instead of 1. And he was the only one that was wanting that. And they ended up changing the rules to the half acre, okay, on the thing. So 2 of the ladies got up and resigned, and one of them wrote a letter. I got a copy of the letter, and she pretty well told him off about what he was doing, okay. So a motion was made by one of the council members and seconded by another one to do away with planning and zoning. But once you start planning and zoning, you cannot do away with it, okay? You're hung with it for the rest of your life. So when we got Matthew to be the lawyer, he went and codified all the ordinances, okay? And we found this one about the planning and zoning. And he said, y'all gonna have to start planning and zoning again. You cannot do away with that, okay? But the planning and zoning was stepping on some people's toes that were on the council, and they tried to get rid of it. That's what happened. I can show you
Yeah,
paperwork
I'll
on
take
it,
it.
okay? I can show you every bit of it.
So then they started it up.
And so it was started back up.
Yeah.
And I was on the council at the time, and I told them the night that we did this, I told them, I said, I'll tell y'all something right now. We are not gonna butt into their business.
Yeah.
They got a job,
Forward, yeah,
council, we need to stay out of it.
yeah.
Well, that hasn't gone too well too, but
Yeah.
as a council, we need to stay out of y'all's business, okay? We give you something to do, fine, you do it, but don't be coming in and trying to
Influence it.
influence it one way or the other.
Yeah.
And same thing with the budget committee.
Yeah.
They put us on a budget committee to get a detailed budget up, councils need to stay out of it. Now, you know, they get the last say on it, I understand that, but they need to stay out of it.
What, so who was there first, the manufactured homes or the gravel pit?
Say that again?
Who
That
was-
was gonna be my question.
Who was
Say that
there
again?
first?
Who was the first? Who was there
Manufactured
first, the gravel pit or
Oh,
the?
I bet they were.
The
Or
homes,
the,
the homes.
The homes.
The homes
I
were
bet
there
they were
homes were there
fuming
first.
when that gravel pit came in.
The homes were
Wow.
there first, and if you really look at it, I don't know who owns it now,
Bolton.
but I mean, who owns the streets?
The problem is, let me go back about these streets, because we went around and around about that, okay? And this is still on record down there, and this is what I was raised Cain about, for a long, still am. Ron, that Brazos Loop, the one that's paved,
Mhm.
he never dedicated that over to the city. Now, he did Oak Drive, and he deeded McCartney Lane over to the county because it was a county road.
Mhm.
Bellinger,
Way.
Silver River Road,
Mhm.
he deeded over to the city,
Mhm.
okay? Because he did a bunch of work on it, and they spent about $28,000, which they should have made him got it up to stuff before because they took our taxpayer dollars and fixed the road, which should have never happened. That was his development.
Mhm.
Bellinger's Way, Fox Flint are not part of the city road. Neither is the Rio Rim or,
Right.
those three are not city roads
Right.
down there.
They were
okay?
still in his name the last I
There's,
saw.
all that's still in his name, it was never deeded over. So actually, I know what the lawyer said, but I've also looked this stuff up, and it doesn't read that way. But the city taxpayer should be paying for fixing those roads. They should, you know, is the state can deed that road over, it's gonna have to be surveyed.
I'll be curious to look, and when there's a way we can look to see, curious to look to see if those streets are still in the name of him.
They are, I've been to MCAD, that's the reason I know this.
Yeah.
I mean,
Very, good idea to talk to Mr. Bolton.
Wasn't there a
He can
street,
enlighten you on
Billy,
that.
and you may be able to speak to this, wasn't there a street just recently, like within the last 3 months, that the city decided, well, we'll just go ahead and take it? I thought I was sitting in a meeting,
Look at mine, you want for.
and
No,
they were
No.
talking about a street that needed fixing.
well, that was Joanna Drive, but it was dedicated over to, because I raised that question before I ever got on the council, what about Joanna Drive? Because they were paving it, and
Yeah.
so it had been deeded over, but they'd never recorded it.
Oh.
And so they went
That's
back
what it was,
and they had
yeah.
to record it. Now, like Oak Drive over here on Hamilton Drive, only half of that length of that road's in the city limits. The other half is out, so I don't know where, I'm, from what they charge to do it, I think the taxpayers are paying for that other half to be paved all the time. Well, that shouldn't be happening.
But should a developer, and you may be able to speak to this, should a developer have to, I buy 40 acres, I turn it into a residential area, and I'm just talking about in general, not necessarily Gholson, but what just use
Anybody.
Gholson. And I build my development, I put in sewers, I put in streets, all that stuff. Shouldn't that automatically become the city's, or
No,
does the developer own those streets in
A
perpetuity?
good example is this development right down here, down Canute Circle.
Mhm.
I believe a guy by the name of Sater, he called me several times about that. And so I told him, I said, look, here's what the ordinance says. And the ordinance was, you put the street in, you get it up to snuff, it had certain dimensions it had to have,
Mhm.
but you do all the ordinance at that time said gutter, you know, road gut, the whole works, okay? That belongs to that developer.
Just like in Hillsborough.
Just like in Hillsborough, once it gets up to snuff, you pave it, whatever, then
You
can
still
deed-
own it,
you can deed it over to the city and they'll take care of it,
right, okay.
okay?
But if they don't deed it
But if
over,
they don't deed it over,
it doesn't.
it's his.
So
is
let
there-
me tell you an example of streets. Let me just give you a quick example of what, on roads and streets, of what I've run into. And then we're gonna carry on this. But, for example, I've done several appraisals in the city of Morgan, and I know y'all probably heard city of Morgan thrown out I was doing an appraisal, I probably told y'all about the veteran that wanted to build I was doing a VA appraisal, new construction, he was gonna build his house. And I took a picture, I have to take a street scene picture of every appraisal that I do. And the street scene was nothing but a bunch of trees and woods and overgrown brush and, big trees right in the middle. And the underwriter calls me back and says, hey, I need a street sign. I said, you got it. Because it was actually the city street. So what was gonna have to happen, that veteran was gonna have to put an all-weather road, build it himself. And this is a city street in Morgan. Build the road himself in to get to his property and to build his house. So what is then I talked to other people there, and I just ran across this not too long ago. You will be doing lots, and everybody thinks they own a block of lots. And in the middle of those lots will be an alley owned by the city of Morgan.
But not used.
But not used. So really, your land is split. And a lot of people don't know it.
Does it come?
And I have ran across a scenario where people have improved the city's streets in Morgan. They are living on it. They did the improvements on it. And then after they did the improvements on it, Morgan said, okay, that's our street now.
So going back to the.
So what I'm leading toward here is that it's got, if it's owned by the city, it's really, in my opinion, it's the city's responsibility to maintain it. So when you look at our streets out here and you think about how bad our streets are, or you think that we're in bad condition, go up there and look at Morgan. I'll tell you another place to go. Go look at Itasca.
You don't even have to go that far.
Go to Itasca and look at them. You got main roads that go through Itasca that make it look all smooth and silk. Well, just like we got 933 that runs through here. But you get off on a side street and you'll beat your car to death. So it happens everywhere, but it's like what he said, unless, it has to be deeded over to the city, but even being deeded over to the city doesn't always make it that it's going to be maintained.
Right.
And it's that city's responsibility to maintain it.
Well,
That's just like when y'all do the budget. Budgeting for roads is important to us as a community, so we can keep our roads in decent shapes here versus places like that.
It's like Canute Circle here. And I don't know what the breakdown on the county did. There's spots in Canute Circle here that don't belong to the city.
That's fine.
Right down here where that 1 acre is, where that house is, that's not in the city. It's just a stretch there. You go on down a little bit further, there's another stretch that's not in the city. Now,
Yep.
I don't know how they broke down paying for it for the county, I don't, because it wasn't on the council, so I don't know, I would have found out if it had been.
Well,
But-
legally, does it become like an easement?
Pardon me?
Legally, does a road or an alley, like the example you're given, and I'm just.
No.
It doesn't.
It's owned by the city.
No.
It's actually
it's
100%
It's
owned
100% owned by
The
the city.
easement would be
Ro-
everybody using that easement and they'd have to pay for it.
Ross has got the same situation over there by the firehouse. There's a guy that owns 2 lots there, and there's an alley through there.
Yep.
Now, it's never been used as an alley,
Yep.
but it's on the record as an alley.
Ross
And
was actually, if you look at it, Ross was actually split up in a lot of lots.
Yeah,
And there's a lot of scenarios.
And
Ross is a city now. I
somebody-
don't know if y'all know that.
somebody at one time went over and put a septic tank right in the middle of that alley,
Yep. And they
That's
didn't
what I
own
was
it.
gonna
and they didn't
say.
own it.
Well,
Yeah.
I ran across a scenario. I've done two
Building there
appraisal.
and you can't even get across to your other section of the property because they built a building there, I mean, that's crazy.
So just picking on Morgan again, I've done two other appraisals in Morgan. And I every time I cringe when the VA sends me an appraisal up there, to be honest with you. Because I know I'm gonna be dealing with this, because one time I explained to him, I said, all right, I am not gonna proceed further until you get me a survey showing the survey of this property. And they got me, and I kept telling them, understand what I'm telling you. You have a legal alley that splits that land. You have now, like what he talked about, that septic system in Ross becomes an encroachment. And so now in Morgan, one of the scenarios I was dealing with, a barn was built on the alley. You have an encroachment and you don't own the land that barn is sitting on.
All of a sudden train tracks appear.
So I told the lender, get me a survey. Surveyor agreed with me 100%.
Now, a survey, would that come in later and say that that building has to be taken down or removed?
The city could force that, yes.
Right,
They didn't, but
Right.
they could.
okay.
It was, what happens is, just like zoning, the lender comes in and says, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do this, I'll do it on 3 lots over here, but I'm not gonna, me as an
And you can't
appraiser, I can't
count that.
appraise it all as one lot,
And you
Right.
can't count
cause it's
that
2
as
separate
your-
tracts of land. And that's what I kept telling them, I can appraise this side with the house on it, but I can't appraise that other one's another appraisal.
And you can't
And they
show
didn't
that.
understand, and finally, when they got the survey,
That's true.
and the survey showed it, it was like, oh God.
Oh my God.
And it blew the deal all out of proportion.
Yeah.
But that's where, when my job is to protect, I'm protecting more than one person.
Mm-hmm.
I'm protecting the lender, and I'm protecting the borrower in that scenario. Because had I not done my job, had I been one of those appraisers that just said, oh, it's write it off, go. They'd have bought that. What if the city of Morgan came in and said, well, sorry, but that's our alley here. You don't own this.
That's just like annexing land in. The new law, and it's passed about 3 or 4 years ago, if you got land on one side of a public road, I'll take Merriware, for example, over here where it's not the city. If somebody close to the city limits there wants to get their land annexed in, when the city annexed that in, they have to annex all the way across that road now. Used to not have to do that. Now they do. That law has changed about 3 or 4 years ago. And the reason I know all this, I've made several trips down McLennan County Appraisal District just to find out about something. That's how I found out that half of Oak Road's not the city. The north end of it, there's about 2/10 of a mile there, it's in the city limits, the rest of it's not. And the city's boundary runs at an angle across there.
Well, y'all can look at it. Marvin, I don't know if you've seen our city, but there's an atlas.
I had,
Can you show me a little bit
I
of that?
asked Sarah if she'd make us
Give you a
little
copy of
maps.
that, yeah.
So she made different maps, bless her heart, cause I don't, you know, I'm like, oh, the yellow house down there, but I don't know the street name. You know what I mean? I'm still at that point.
That's like Miss Walmart's house up here, you know where she lives at? The city limits goes right through the west end of her house.
That's funny,
Oh, wow.
yeah.
That's how messed
It's
up it is.
crazy that,
Crazy.
yeah, it's crazy how it is.
Okay, so we discussed kind of what we in play. So the bylaws part of this, just to go back to this schedule, the bylaws part of this, if you'll just review that instead of us, I don't want to reread them all. If you'll review that.
I sure will.
And by the next meeting, you'll understand
Mhm.
on that. Now, the next thing on the list is to discuss the meeting schedule. I don't know what next month is gonna entail, but we could go back. We're doing it, well, one thing is because Marvin got on, so that's why we're doing the meeting when we're doing it now. But I think we said it second Tuesday?
Initially, yeah.
Initially, second Tuesday of every month.
And when is December city council?
Can I say something? 'Cause
Monday.
I need to get y'all pinned down on something, because we're gonna have to schedule meetings too.
Right.
And,
And,
Yeah, but
so,
we-
What are y'all thinking?
well, I just, we haven't,
The last
I was thinking somewhere around the 8th, 9th,
Right.
12th, 13th, 14th, somewhere in there, to have something, you get organized. We won't meet every month.
So you're gonna do like on a Thursday?
Well, that's what I was thinking, I don't know where
When
everybody.
city, and you'll be doing it prior to the city, so
Yeah.
so we can, if we stuck with our Tuesday,
Yeah,
we'd be okay.
yeah. But we just need to kind of coordinate between the two groups.
Yes. Well, the only reason we're doing this tonight, the way it
Yeah, I
is,
understand.
because I wanted to have one before city council meeting,
Yeah,
and we just got Marvin.
yeah, I
And so-
understand that, I mean, I know.
Yeah, so are y'all good with the second Tuesday?
Yeah.
If that's when y'all wanna do it.
Yes,
Second
That would
Tuesday?
be in
It'd be
January,
the
that'd be
13th.
13th.
That'd be like the 13th of January.
Okay, so I
I can make that
need
one.
to X that 13th off, that's what I'm trying to get at.
Yep. So we're gonna keep with, unless something changes that, we're gonna keep with the second Tuesday of every month
Okay,
at 6:30.
okay.
Okay, Bill, you got that, Billy?
Yeah,
That way
yeah,
you can.
I'm writing it down on
coordinate
this
y'all.
calendar you got here. Okay, I said, I just, you know, so we don't have,
Right, I agree,
uh,
because I wouldn't mind attending some of y'all's.
well, I hope some people do,
Yeah.
because,
I wouldn't mind attending some of y'all's too.
I said,
so.
I hope some people do,
Yeah.
because,
I
they
wish
need
more
to,
people
they
would
need to
come by.
understand about budgeting.
Yep, Yep.
And how it works, and how tax rates work, and
yep, yep.
and how
I'd
you
like
come
to
up with
attend
all
it.
of this.
Okay, so we got that part done. Now, discussing data centers and their impacts. So, I brought this up in the city council meeting, the last city council meeting about, that I was gonna talk about data centers. I'm not sure, I totally understand. I'm not gonna sit here and say that I'm an expert in by no way of what a data center totally does. I know it probably has something to do with AI, and I know it's data gathering, and I know that it's huge properties, and I know that it takes a lot to maintain those, to operate those properties. So, just so you understand, if you want to, you can drive and see one. Where it's being built is on the way to Laguna Park. There's one on the right. Before you get into Laguna Park, that's on the right. That's exactly what they're constructing, is a data center there.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes quite a bit of land, and I know that they take quite a bit of water, and I know they take quite a bit of electricity, I think, to operate them.
I got it right here pulled up, if you want me to read it.
Well, yeah, go ahead and read that.
And this is from AI, so, but it says a data center is a dedicated facility housing thousands of network computers, servers, storage systems, and other IT equipment, acting as the central nervous system for storing, processing, and distributing vast amounts of digital data that power everything from streaming services and online banking to AI and cloud computing. These physical locations require robust infrastructure for power, cooling, security, and connectivity to ensure continuous operation and support critical business applications and digital services.
So basically, they take a lot of water to cool those mainframes. And they take a lot of electricity to run the mainframes. And so, that's why I can see them. Now, I'm sure y'all heard of the situation that's happened in Lacey Lakeview. And I don't know if you realize that expands to Ross. What we call Ross is where that expands to. And so I'm going to read you a couple of things that I've looked at. And the reason I'm bringing this up is, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, this is not something that we're going to vote on. This is not something that we're going to take. We can possibly take action on something like this for the city of Gholson. This is something that, what I'm bringing this up for is because it may be something that we contemplate as a planning and zoning, putting something forward to the city council. I'm just giving you as a presentation. You as a commission would be deciding whether we want to tackle this or not, or that it needs to be looked at. So this is an article from the reporter out of Hillsborough. The Hill County Commissioners Court heard from Abbott residences concerning about a proposed data center during a regular meeting Tuesday, September 9th. Texas has seen a rapid increase in data centers, which are large facilities that house computer servers and equipment. John Garrett, John Blaha, and Denton Tucker each approached the podium during the open forum to ask for county help, help. Garrett told commissioners that a real estate broker is serious in the negotiations with 3 landowners near his property, and a data center could be built in the middle of a community of homes. It would surround my 7-acre property on 3 sides and cut our community in half, he said. Garrett said that the proposal covers over 500 acres, and he expressed concerns about noise, lack of water supply in the area, and impacts on property values, among other issues. Those of us who are not paid millions are left with a community divided and destroyed, he said. He said that this discussed the issue with neighbors, attorneys, and county officials, and has been told there is nothing that can be done to stop such a project, as it is outside the city limits of Abbott and not subject to zoning restrictions. Please let the developers and the investors know that we will not welcome them in Hill County to destroy our property and our way of life. So, reason I'm bringing this up is now this happened back in September, and this is still ongoing, I'm sure. I don't know for a fact if it's ongoing, but I know it's going to be ongoing in different places. Now we have the Lacey Lakeview situation that they approved yesterday.
Well, Kevin, that actually, there was some funny business going on there. The place they bought is the old Bogus place over at Ross. It has 540 acres on it, and it's got White Rock Creek running right through it, which is dry all the time, unless you have a big rain.
Yeah.
Okay? It's about a half a mile out of Ross's ETJ, is where it's located at. It's on that old Katy Road between, where that, Bring Your Own Tools place is and Ross. It's right in that area there and stuff. Well, that is actually in Waco's ETJ. I don't see how Lacey Lakeview thinks they're gonna get out there, because Lacey Lakeview is not a big enough city to have their ETJ run out that.
That's what I don't know, because I mean, okay, so that's another thing that I was gonna lead to is ETJs. Gholson, as the size of Gholson that Gholson is, Gholson can only go a half a mile to do an ETJ. Now, what I'm saying is when it comes to the data centers, you heard what this person was told. They're not subject to zoning restrictions. So, when you're looking at a planning and zoning commission and you're looking at a city, is there protections in place? Possibly. Is there protections that can be in place? Yes. I feel like there is. As a city, as we are, we can try to look at this, and this may be something that the city council is going to have to be involved, but we could look at something in restricting business development to an extent in regards to our city. And by doing that, you can possibly prevent something of this happening. I don't know. It's something to look at. City of ETJ, if we claimed our ETJ, we can only claim a half a mile. That's it. That's as far as we can. Can we stop things from happening? We can't zone in ETJ. We haven't claimed our ETJ, that I understand it.
Nope.
But if we did, we get that half mile away, around our city limits. Now, it really becomes a big question when you have a city limits that's drawn up like this.
Well, and Waco's ETJ comes on between the Brazos River and stuff, nearly butts up to Gholson here
Yeah.
and stuff, and then it comes out over, I used to have a map. The problem, you're talking about the huge amount of land. The problem is there's nothing really inside of Gholson. The city limits would be enough land. The only people to own enough land, or would have enough land, would be like Busby's or Quillen's or Bolton, and that's all in a flood zone.
It could, well,
I mean,
so is the one in Laguna Park.
well,
And what I'm trying to say, what could happen in this scenario, you got to understand, it could be one landowner, but several landowners could come together, because if, say, money talks, let's just put it that way.
Yeah, we're gonna buy all of your acreage.
If money talks and several landowners agree, you could be in this situation, but if you put in safeguards in the city, it could possibly stop it. I don't know. I'm not an expert.
My question is, what's the revenue benefit?
I don't know. I don't know. I know this. I don't know. I don't want to sit here and say that I know facts, because I don't.
No,
All I know is innuendos and things that have been said. Things have been said that they could, your electricity could increase, your water usage. Where are you gonna get water to cool that big of mainframes? I know where you're talking about that one's gonna be at. It goes behind friends of mine's houses over in Rawls.
Well, they were discussing about running a sewer line from Lacey Lakeview up through the bed of that White
Sooner or
Rock
later, we're
Creek.
gonna run out of water.
Well, I'm just saying, this is what they were discussing. Ross had a meeting the other night, and the mayor
Did you
and
go
I-
to it?
I didn't go to it, the mayor and I have been talking. We're
Mhm.
real good friends,
Mhm.
okay? And, we converse all the time about laws and stuff.
Yeah.
But they're talking about running a sewer line up the bed of that White Rock Creek. Well, that doesn't make any sense to me because you could contaminate
Yes,
Yeah, I don't.
water.
A natural waterway.
Natural waterway, okay?
Yep. That's where
So, and that's, so, and where you gonna get your electricity from? Hillco's probably not gonna.
I don't know. I don't know.
So, and they were talking about putting in their own power plant. Well, then you got emissions and all
Mhm.
this mess, so that thing may be 10 years getting off the ground.
Could be. Could be. Alls I know is I've heard of stories or read I read an article on people that live by it
Yes.
and they're not happy. Because it's kind of like, okay, I'll give you a real world example of something that's built by you that may, you know that word I said, nuisance? The noise nuisance? The noise nuisance, it becomes a real world particular for me if I gotta go do an appraisal by one of these things that are built. Because I gotta say, does that impact the value of this property? And so I have to research and do an analysis to find out if it does. An real world example is a friend of mine, he owns a big piece of acreage he's up in Munster. Big land in Munster. His house is on the backside of his land. They came and put a wind turbine right behind him.
Yeah,
And guess what he gets to walk out and listen to every day?
yeah.
The sounds of the wind turbines. So,
If you're interested.
What is that?
That's all the Lacey Lakeview stuff about the data center.
you can read it.
Um,
Let me finish this
Yeah,
and then
go
we'll
ahead.
let you read that. But what I'm trying to say is that this is what I was talking about, that I was gonna talk to the commission about the data center situation. I feel like that the city council needs to look at this and everybody needs to take this more serious than can be because of the impact that it can have on your residences, the impact it can have on your community, the impact it can have on your city. There may be money-making impact. I don't know. But I know that there can be some negative impact to this too. We are right by the river. We are split between the river and the Aquila Creek. Now, Aquila Creek don't produce enough to do something like that. But that has to be why they're building this thing close to Laguna Park, because they're going to pull water out of that river
Or
and
lake.
cool the mainframe. They're going to redo water right back into the river. What's that do for environments? So, all I'm saying is what I think is that I want to approach possibly, and we'll discuss this in other times. But I think that the city of Gholson needs to look at this. I think that the city council needs to look at this. And I think that we need to, I don't know if we can, I don't know what the legal side of ETJ is, but I'll just give you some stats on ETJ. An ETJ can control subdivision regulations, certain development standards, infrastructure requirements, road drainage plats, health and safety ordinances in limited cases. ETJ cannot do zoning, taxation, or agricultural uses, or day-to-day rural operations. So what you can't do is go in an ETJ and enforce zoning in there. You can do it within your city limits. So your city limits, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, but y'all can look at it as you want, but in your city limits can add a protection. Your ETJ can add some protection by the platting and subdivision, but doing platting and subdivision standards that can slow that down. So, I just wanted to bring it before you and just to discuss it, because I'm gonna discuss it with the lawyers and the city council about that, whether we should be looking into ordinances that control something like this within our ordinances that are already in place within the city limits of Gholson. That's all I was trying to bring up.
Get ahead of it.
Yes.
You go ahead.
Okay, a major, potentially 10 billion with a B, data center campus by InfraKey Capital is proposed for Lacey Lakeview, Texas, near Waco.
Stop for a second.
Yeah.
How is Lakeview involved in this? If it's at the border of Ross, and I know where this thing's going.
Yeah, you know.
Because a friend of mine farmed that property that no longer gets to lease it and farm it.
I think there was,
Their ETJ wouldn't even reach out that
No.
far, would it?
no, it doesn't. That is actually in Waco's ETJ, because I've looked it up, okay? Because,
In Waco.
the Jim Yoster's the mayor over at Ross, and we visit all
Yes,
the time.
uh-huh.
And so he called me about it, because he was asking me something about some of the laws and stuff, and everything. And so I told him, I said, well, how in the world are they gonna do this, Jim? That's in Waco's ETJ, and Lacey Lakeview is not a big enough city to have an ETJ to go out that far. So I think there was some behind, under the table, backroom wheeling and dealing down between Waco and Lacey Lakeview. That's my opinion.
To make it look like.
Okay.
Because I don't know, just how many citizens is Lacey Lakeview? Because 5,000 and less, you get a half mile and that's it.
Yeah. And
If you're 5,000
They
or
probably
less.
don't have 5,000,
I wouldn't think so.
okay? Well, then you got Elmont sitting there between them, I mean, you know.
Is it an incorporated city?
No, Elmont's not, but.
Ross is though.
But Ross is, and Waco's ETJ runs up against Ross's city limits coming from Gholson. If you look at that thing coming from Gholson straight across over to Ross, Waco's ETJ, in fact, one of the truck stops out there at Ross on the interstate's in Waco's ETJ. So that's all in Waco, so
That's what I don't understand. But
and-
they voted and passed.
well, I just think that, this is my opinion, okay?
Mhm.
Just looking at, and him filling me on what was discussed.
Mhm.
Curry was out there at the meeting the other day, okay?
Mhm.
Well, he told him he didn't know anything about them. Well, he's back on TV yesterday and he knew all about it, okay? So, I mean, you know, these politicians, they forget what they say.
Yep.
And they
I
tell.
heard him say that. I saw it on a
Yeah,
video
yeah.
that he said he didn't know nothing about.
Yeah, but then, last
But then
night-
he says he did.
yeah, okay, so, I just think there was some shady stuff going on, part of the deal may be is because Lacey Lakeview has a sewer system, Waco would have to come across that river to get a sewer system out there.
Well, what about the plants that they're putting in Caulk Bluff?
Well, it ain't been put in yet,
No.
no,
But it could.
it could be, but,
Go ahead and finish yours.
Anyway, it just says, $10 billion data center by InfraKey Capital is proposed for Lacey Lakeview, Texas, near Waco, sparking significant local debate, with the city council recently approving non-binding talks despite strong resident opposition concerned about rural disruption, water use, and pollution, while city officials cite potential tax revenue and infrastructure benefits, making it a contentious but active development. The developers, InfraKey Capital, this is where it gets scary. The scale, up to 6 data centers aiming for 1 gigawatt of capacity. I don't understand that, but anyway.
it's electricity,
Yeah, I guess that's what they're gonna be using.
yeah.
Location near Waco, Texas, in the Lacey Lakeview area. Supports cloud workloads. Many residents oppose the project, valuing the area's rural feel and fearing noise, light pollution, and devalued property, water usage, air quality. We've already gone over that. Over 1,500 people signed a petition against the project and protest occurred at city council meetings. City council of Lacey Lakeview still voted on it, I guess, to move forward, not necessarily.
Not necessarily
Well,
approving
I'll
it,
tell
but
you
just
what
to move
happened at the
forward with
Lacey
discussion.
Lakeview city council meeting. They wouldn't let anybody speak until they voted on it, and then they let them speak after they voted on it. And I got this, I was told this yesterday, because I had lunch with a guy from there.
My question is this: if we do this for AI, which I'm neither for it nor against it, I'm like you, I need more info. If we do this, would whatever we propose for this data center, would that be the same as if, I don't know, Joe Blow's Tire Company came in and decided to build a big tire
I don't,
plant?
well, I mean, then
Is
then
it
you as
strictly,
a.
are we strictly just looking at AI centers, or are we looking at any
Well,
heavy
then
industrial?
then as a commission, then you gotta look at, do you want that?
Mhm.
Growth is inevitable, period.
Yeah.
End of story. There's no way you can stop it. It's inevitable. I don't like it.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've been a part of this community since I was a kid. I'm 60 years old. And so, would I want a tire manufacturer beside me? No.
Not me.
And I mean, that's the thing that's what I keep trying to say is in all of this, if we can, and I want to make sure with the lawyers that we can, if we can put in something to modify an ordinance to be a safeguard to keep a data center from being built here, or keep like what you're describing from being built here, and we want to keep Gholson this way, that's what our job is to do.
Yeah.
And that's what the city council's job is to do. You're there to protect the citizens, to protect the property value of the city, of the citizens of Gholson. So, in a way, we have a say-so that we can present something to the city council, whether they adopt it or not, that's not our decision. But when you got ordinances in place and you can modify an ordinance or you can add an ordinance, or we have to get the legal terminology. But if you can add it to prevent something like that from happening, to me, that's a safeguard.
I just want to, I as a citizen of Gholson, if, let's just say tomorrow, I decided to set up just a small metal fab shop, you know what I'm saying? Making barbecue grills or something. I want to make sure that any ordinances we may or may not develop for,
Would restrict that.
520 acre
Of course.
plant is not going to impose on me building barbecue grills in my backyard.
Of course.
Because that would be classified as light industrial. Go ahead.
And we can talk to the attorney too, and he can research it and see, you know what I mean,
We can talk to him to see if there's even, if we want to
there's a
contemplate
way to
this,
go
even
about
if
it,
there's
because he'd be
something.
the one who'd have to fight it in court, you know.
He's gonna read the ordinance and he's gonna approve or not approve it. The lawyer's gonna scrub it. I'll tell you that, because every time that we made changes to the ordinances when we were doing it here, every time we made it, they went straight to him first.
Yeah.
He had to scrub them.
But I mean, to talk to him about what are our options to prevent it, you know, what legally.
We definitely need more information as a
Yeah.
council, as a commission,
Yeah.
you know,
Right.
before we start instituting
Absolutely.
different zones in the
Absolutely.
city, because we may institute a zone and the lawyer come back and say, what are you doing
Yeah.
with that? You know,
Right.
that's Uncle Bill's barnyard. You're
Right.
turning into an industrial waste
Right.
site or whatever,
Right.
you know.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, okay, that's.
I think this is gonna be fun. I know that sounds really weird, but I like looking forward to this. I really am. I had seriously, well, I did real estate for like 6 years, so I ran across all kinds of zoning and had.
And I'll tell you,
Zoning
when it comes to AI,
Mhm.
I have started using that.
I know.
I'm
but-
afraid it's gonna put me out of business.
I know, but that's what I'm saying.
I think it is. I think it's gonna put me out of business.
I don't
but
think it's such a good thing, sorry.
I had a scenario that I had a brand new duplex the other day that had a cell tower right beside it.
That's, I know, that's horrible. Could you
Yeah,
imagine
so-
buying land and then all of a sudden, I mean,
Yeah, a cell tower right beside
Yeah,
it.
by
Now, that, I'll
phone.
tell you this, I was standing right there and I listened. It didn't make no noise.
no, and you got really good reception.
Yeah. You're gonna have the best.
Hey, I got 5 bars.
Yeah, but what's
You got
it
more than
doing
5
that
G
you-
there.
What's it physically doing that you can't see, you know? I know.
So, but that's what I'm saying, not only, you know, me as an appraiser, I have to look at it in regards to what is the effect on marketability, what's the effect on the value of the property.
Oh, yeah.
And so, what is the impact?
Mhm.
And so that's the same thing with something like this.
That's how I had to price it out.
What is the effect on marketability, what's the effect on the value of the property, and what impact does it have on that? Sometimes you find that it doesn't,
Location,
sometimes you really do.
location.
Yeah, sometimes you find it doesn't, sometimes you find it does, but if you have a noise nuisance, you're gonna find that it probably will. I mean, sometimes it worries me about doing an appraisal in McGregor, Texas, because of SpaceX. Of course, we
Yeah.
feel SpaceX
Yeah.
over here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, we really do.
Yeah.
So,
but every time they shoot off a rocket engine, I think it's after 8 p.m., the city gets like, it's a ridiculous, stupid amount of money. That's how they built their park.
no, it's
Oh,
crazy.
do
Yeah.
they?
Yeah, because
every
SpaceX,
time-
like, they have to be within certain parameters of the weather and
Uh-huh,
humidity
uh-huh,
levels and all this craziness.
uh-huh.
Well,
So they
sometimes
go
they
outside
can't,
that
sometimes they
time.
have to light those engines off at 10 o'clock at night.
Uh-huh.
Well, every time they do, it's written, they've got a deal with City of McGregor. SpaceX writes them a check for like 10 grand.
Really?
My thought in that process is they're not the ones being impacted, it's the citizens in their
Yeah.
house that's being impacted.
Yeah, but they
that's
built
what
that.
They
They built-
complaining the other day about a
Give
house that
everybody a check for
messed up the
$100
inside of
bucks.
it,
Yeah.
Did it what?
messed up the structure of it down there the other day.
I had a boss
Well,
at
that didn't
Caterpillar,
fall
they
off the
dropped a
wall.
rocket on his house, almost in his backyard, his property butts up to SpaceX, and when that one, they had to blow it up, pieces of it,
Hit his property.
it was like at the fence. He's like, I was within, he said I was within 1 foot of $1 million.
No.
Wow. You can pick it up and move it. Kick it, yeah.
Okay, so let's go on to, items to be considered, which is not very much. It's really, I don't, considering new elections, consider and act upon electing new members for vacant positions, well,
I think we already did that.
we already did
Yeah.
that. So, consider and act upon meeting schedule, we did that. So, receive commission members' requests of items for next month's meetings. So if y'all want, you can put things on the agenda. If you want to discuss things, you just have to,
be in by a certain amount of time before the meeting.
we have to
Yeah,
post a meeting
a week before.
a week before.
So are we saying a 5-day, a business day week or a 7-day week?
So I will post the agenda, 7 days before, so on the 6th.
Okay.
So,
Now, if for some reason you can go one more day, as long as there's not a holiday in that week,
Okay.
because the posting requirement is now 3 business days. So that's fun to figure out.
So do they
If you
send in
decide to put
agenda
something on-
items to me, or is that gonna be my responsibility or you? Or, I don't,
We'll probably be working together on
Okay.
it. Yeah.
so if you bring something before the commission, just bring it for all of us. Make sure we're understanding before we can, if you put something on the agenda, if you decide to put something on the agenda.
So you're saying before we put it on the agenda, we need to contact
No,
everybody?
no, you can, anybody can put anything on the agenda that they want us to, want to have a discussion on.
Mhm.
You don't have to tell us ahead of time, you just bring us literature on, so we're understanding what you're wanting us to discuss.
I got it.
That's all I'm saying.
I wasn't being
Oh.
snarky.
No,
I was,
you
I
were
understand.
being sorry.
don't you
No.
start with me.
So, the one thing that I wanna try to do, and I don't know that I will get it done, it's gonna be, we have to talk, I wanna talk to David, the lawyer, about doing his presentation. And hopefully I can get that, hopefully I can talk to him and get that done and set up for our meeting next month. If that's the case, that will probably consume most of our meeting. But we need it. I think we need it. Because he gave it to us once before, but I'm the only one that was here then. So I think we need that.
Mhm.
Yeah. I would think
We
so.
need guidance. Because again, I know a lot about zoning and ordinances and all of that, but I am not a city planner. So that's what our job is to do.
Yeah.
So we need some guidance.
Do
Yeah.
we need to make a motion on asking David to be here, or can we just do it?
It wouldn't well, I mean, and we can't vote on whether he's gonna be here or not. It all depends on his schedule. Do we need the motion, Matt?
I think you would just ask him, because it's kinda
Okay.
like,
Yeah, because
I just didn't want him to get here and then we go, we messed
No,
up. we didn't
ask him
vote
and
on
then we
this.
could just.
well,
put him on the
and what I wanna
agenda.
do is, just like what she just talked about, I'll know in advance to whether, if he's not gonna be able to, then I know to put something else for us to review.
I got you.
And it may be to look over some ordinances
Mhm.
itself, but what I'm saying is I gotta know in that 6-day or 7-day deal.
yeah.
Yeah, okay.
That way we have it on the agenda, so I'll reach out to them and try to get it hammered down to see if they can do it.
Cool.
Okay.
Awesome.
Are y'all gonna make a motion on, having your meeting on the second Tuesday?
Yes, we do need to do
Last
that.
month, though.
We do need to do that.
Did we agree to that last month?
Yeah, well, we need to make a motion to approve it, that we're gonna do this for every second.
Okay.
So somebody make the motion and we have to second it and then vote on it.
I make a motion that we do the planning and zoning meeting at 6:30 on the second Tuesday of every month.
I second.
All those in favor?
Uh,
We probably need to go ahead and vote, and do a motion and vote that he's the secretary.
she's the
No,
secretary.
You're the secretary, sorry, you're the secretary. We
But
didn't
I'll
get that
back
clear?
her up.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't remember us doing that. Okay, so we,
I have to be a secretary for him in a lot of things.
okay,
So you would be doing it anyway.
Yeah.
okay, so that's it for tonight. We just need a
Alright,
motion
Bill,
to
on that letter.
adjourn.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
I second that motion.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Meeting adjourned.
Aye,
I guess I need to sign
aye,
the
aye,
sign.
Captain.
Hey,